Hey everyone, welcome. I am MisterBo, and today we're going to be talking about what 2021 holds for Crash Bandicoot and why I think it personally could be a big year for the franchise. Now, of course, last year we had the release of Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time, the first brand new Crash game in 8 years. Obviously, previously in the years prior, we had the Crash Sane Trilogy release on the PS4. The year after, we then saw that same game release on the Switch, the PC, and the Xbox. And then in 2019, we had the release of Crash Team Racing Nitro-Fueled. So we have had Crash Bandicoot pretty much every year since 2017, and well, that isn't slowing down anytime soon, because we already know we're going to be getting at least one Crash Bandicoot title this year in 2021, but there is also the possibility that we could be seeing a second release this year, and whether that is the case or not, it's going to be a pretty big year for Crash. Now, obviously, the main reason this could be a big year for Crash is the title we already know is coming out this year, and that is Crash on the Run, the brand new Crash Bandicoot mobile game. Now, we have seen quite a lot of this game from different trailers as well as gameplay. It's been out in sort of early access testing phases for a while now, and it isn't due to officially launch until around March, spring 2021, but everything that we have seen makes this game look like more than a mobile game. It's got myself and a ton of other people who probably wouldn't usually be interested in a mobile game pretty interested. And from what the developers have been saying, they are treating this like a brand new Crash Bandicoot game. And they are not treating this like some sort of cash grab mobile game. And if Activision's past is anything to go by with their mobile games, primarily Call of Duty Mobile and the recently released in, I believe, beta, Diablo Immortals, it seems like Activision kind of has a grip on what mobile games should be now, and I'm very hopeful for what Crash on the Run could be. We also know we're going to be getting a ton of content with this game for the foreseeable future. The developers King have already announced that there's going to be a battle pass, which is basically the way they're monetizing the game. There of course will be a free level to that and then a paid level, and the game will be split up into seasons, and every season will introduce brand new fan favorite villains and bosses into the game for us to go after. So when the game does launch in March and we play all of that content, that isn't going to be the end of that game. In a month or two after that release, we're going to start seeing more and more content, and that should take us through the rest of the year, if not into next year as well. And that just alone is why it's going to be a big year for Crash. When this game launches, there's pretty much going to be Crash all the time throughout the rest of the year. Now, I know even with the mobile game being Crash Bandicoot related and looking fairly good, it might not be everyone's cup of tea, but I think we could be seeing some other things from Crash this year as well. Because if you're not aware, 2021 marks the 25th anniversary of Crash Bandicoot, and that is a pretty significant anniversary date, and I think Activision and the various Crash Bandicoot developers are probably going to be wanting to do something special for it, and that could be a number of things. Of course, that could just be a simple update in the Crash Bandicoot on the Run mobile game that celebrates the 25th anniversary, maybe like a retro skin or maybe some retro levels. Maybe we could see something like that as DLC for Crash Bandicoot 4. Obviously, we already have the retro skin in Crash 4, but why not introduce some fan favorite levels from the original Crash Bandicoot games, or maybe some of the later games like Wrath of Cortex? Now, one small thing they could do for the 25th anniversary is release Crash Bandicoot 4 for PC and Switch. Those are the two platforms that this game has not yet come to. It seems a bit strange that they haven't come to those platforms yet, and it would just basically make a whole lot of sense if they did. The Sane Trilogy came to both PC and Switch. Granted, Nitro-Fueled never came to PC, but I have a feeling that was due to mainly the online side of the game, and Activision probably didn't want people hacking that. But I think that is probably the most likely thing to come this year, a re-release of Crash 4 for those platforms and maybe an optimized version for Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5. There then comes the final thing that we could be seeing for the 25th anniversary of Crash, and what would probably make the biggest splash in 2021, and that is of course the long-rumored PvP game which we've talked about in length on this channel, and what we think is going to be based around or called Wumpa League. We had a couple of teasers near the end of last year, which we all thought was maybe hinting at some sort of reveal during the Game Awards. Obviously, nothing came from that, but that doesn't mean we aren't going to be seeing this game released this year. I think this would be the coolest thing to sort of celebrate the 25th anniversary of Crash. I do think if they are releasing a standalone multiplayer game for Crash that isn't a kart racing game, that isn't say like a Crash Bash remake, I think it will be the Warzone equivalent of Crash Bandicoot. One multiplayer game that lives on with maybe some sort of battle pass system like we're seeing in Crash on the Run, that ties all future releases together and takes elements from them and sort of mashes them all up in this. Whether that's characters from Crash 4 and then when Crash 5 comes out, we start seeing characters from that game in Wumpa League. I think that could be the coolest thing they could do with this game, but even if we don't see a release of this rumored game, it's still looking like a pretty good year for Crash. Of course, there is the possibility there is some sort of other surprise. Maybe Activision is working on some sort of other thing for the 25th anniversary. We've heard some rumors about a brand new animated cartoon show, which would be really cool. Obviously, we've seen the original animation for Crash Bandicoot 1, which was such a cool style, and it's a shame something like that never did get turned into a cartoon. So maybe that is what they released this year as the 25th anniversary sort of surprise. We'll just have to wait and see. Of course, there is the possibility that all we get this year is Crash on the Run and we don't get anything else, but I still think with all the content that the developers have said is going to be coming to Crash on the Run with the different seasons, we know Mr. Crumb is coming to Crash on the Run, and we've already seen the likes of Nina, Uka Uka, the Elementals, Scorporilla, and plenty more. We could end up getting a bigger roster of characters in this mobile game than we did in Nitro-Fueled, and that would be pretty amazing. So let me know in the comments below. Do you think, like I do, and that 2021 is going to be a big year for Crash? Do you think we'll see a release for Crash 4 on Switch and PC? Do you think that PvP game will come out this year? Do you think we could see the animated cartoon? And are you going to be hopping on Crash on the Run when it launches later this year? Now we know we're probably getting a brand new Spyro game this year, but I think Activision still wants to make sure that Crash is up in the front. You can tell that by the fact that he's getting a mobile game, and I think they'll want to give him something else this year as well. Anyways, if you did enjoy this video, then click that like button. It helps support the channel. If you're not already, then make sure you subscribe for more videos like this, as well as a ton of other gaming content and coverage. If you'd like to, you can join our Discord server to talk about this, as well as much more. Link to that in the description below. There's also a link to my Twitter if you'd like to stay updated with me, as well as what's going on with the channel. Apart from all of that, thank you very much for watching and for hanging out. I really do appreciate it. Hopefully I will catch you in some future content, but until then, as always, make sure you take care. Bye-bye.